Hey skiers, it's Bob with Skiessentials.com.
And I'm Allie.
Allie and I are here today. We got a 2022 women's 100 millimeter comparison for you. So a bunch of skis on this wall. We're pretty much ranging from 96, we got a couple of 96s, and then all the way up to 104. So there's like 4 millimeters on either side of 100. So a lot to offer here for a lot of skiers. Jeff and Allie before did the 90 millimeter comparison, and so this is basically just 10 millimeters wider per. There's a lot of skis out there for a lot of people. You know, that 90 had a lot of one ski quivers for more eastern skiers like us. This is kind of more in that, 100 one ski quiver for maybe a western skier or for an eastern skier that's looking for a snowy day ski. So a lot of range here and a lot of good skis. What do you think?
I agree. Definitely, there's that range is a bit more versatile throughout the country for skiers. You know, you're going to have that lady that wants that 104 for their powder day in the East Coast, but it also could be their daily driver out in Vail. It could even be their daily driver here. A lot of people are going to that 100 underfoot as their normal one ski quiver. It's not for everyone, but people that like that larger turn radius and a little bit more float when they do get into the crud, that's what they're looking at.
Yeah, and I think that's a good segue into just starting right off with these Armada Reliance 102s. If you're looking for something that's going to charge through, fresh snow and crud and also hold well on the groomers, this is a great choice. This thing is built with a wood core, 2 sheets of metal. We have Armada's articulated Titanal banding, so they've milled out sections of the shovel here with the metal and filled it with an elastomer material. That kind of allows the ski to twist a little bit more easily without sacrificing the power underfoot. So 102 millimeters, kind of more of that traditional all mountain shape versus more of a free ride like we'll see with this the Trace 98 coming up. But really just a great versatile all-mountain ski. What do you think of the power in this one here, Al?
Armada really surprised me this last year. Obviously, it's new in their lineup. Everyone knows them as a free ride ski, but with this new, the declivity for men's and the Reliance and the women's, they really took me by surprise, and they made a front side powerful ski that really just felt very responsive underneath the foot, and I would have taken this anywhere. I actually really liked all versions that I tried of the Reliance. My favorite was the 88C, which really surprised me because it is carbon and it didn't have metal, and I usually like the metal. But I liked the C. I felt it was responsive. But even with the metal in it, it's not that heavy a ski, and it's still going to have that responsive, but it's going to just be a little bit more stable and a little bit easier. When you're hitting that crud and that ice, it's going to have a little bit more edge performance with that metal in there.
Yeah, I feel like these things just plow right through it. It's not too stiff, not too soft. Really good kickback on that flex as well. Mm-hmm. And then with rocker too, it's longer as these Reliance skis get wider, they get more dramatic or lower, I should say, in the rocker profile. Still a pretty medium splay. And then, more about that directional tail rocker. And just some good kick out of the end of the turn, too. And if you're looking for that more on-mountain performance, this is a great choice. And then kind of entering into more of a free ride realm, you want to take those there. The Trace 98. So a little bit more of that free ride option. If you're looking to split, 50-50 with resort and touring, I think this is a really, really strong ski. We do get that nice poplar wood core with their adaptive mesh here. You can kind of see it in there. They do a nice job of keeping that mesh tighter underfoot and then looser into the tips and tails. Pretty light too. We got our scale here. And this one and the next one coming up are 2 really good options for both in and out of bounds skiing. So 1,400 grams just about. This is the 164, and just a really nice ski. It's got some good energy to it and just really fun overall.
I'm always searching for that right uphill ski. I really like my downhill performance, and I don't like to sacrifice that for weight, but I also am a wimp and really like having a light ski. So this is where I found a happy medium. It was a nice light ski, but it still performed well going downhill. I mean, it's obviously not the lightest uphill ski out there, and it's obviously not the best downhill performance. But if you're looking for that great combination that you're going to still be able to get some good edge turns on there, it's a great option.
Yeah, definitely. And we see that in the tip as well. Just a little bit more taper in the tips and tails versus that Reliance. So nice early taper here. Going to perform just a little bit better in, pure powder and soft snow.
A good amount of camber to flex on a ski.
Yep. Yeah, definitely good energy coming out of it. When they don't put metal into a ski, you got to find a way to get the energy into it, and they do it through their camber. And we'll see that in a few other skis coming up too. This might be your uphill ski if you felt like that trace was a little too heavy. This Atomic Backland 98, really, you mentioned surprise at the Reliance. I am surprised at these Backlands at how much energy you can get out of such a light ski. 1134, so a few hundred grams lighter than even that Trace. Really featherweight ski here. They use Atomic's Powerwood core, which you would think would be in a heavier ski, but they mill it pretty thin, so it's not a very thick profile looking at it from the side. And then they add their carbon backbone to it to get the energy. Horizon Tech in the tips really helps with the flotation, but overall, this is one of those skis that loves to be used in fresh snow, but I mean, I've seen some really high-end skiing on these just at the resort on the groomers too.
I know, I'm actually always surprised when I see it on the groomers. It's always a pretty good skier who knows what they're doing out there. The biggest thing I can take away from the Backland is the energy that it puts out underneath your foot. So if you're not used to that energy, it sometimes feels like it's maybe throwing you, but it's so light that if you have the power and the ability that you're going to be able to manage the ski like a beauty, and that lightness going uphill is really going to save your legs and allow you to ski longer in the day. And it might not be the best on icy days, but it's going to perform for 90% of the conditions out there.
Yeah, if you're looking for something with better ice performance, there's certainly better options than this. But
probably not on an uphill version.
No, not if you're going to tour on anything. This is going to hold up as good as anything on firm snow for sure.
Yeah.
And this is kind of one of our more fun-loving twin tip skis of this list here. This is the Black Crow's Camox Birdie. Really great ski. We've done pretty good with Black Crows over the past few years, and skis like this are a big reason why. We just really enjoy these fun-loving kind of twin tip skis, in that mid to upper 90s range. They do a whole lot, especially here in Stowe. I feel like we just kind of have the terrain and snow that warrants this width and this shape of ski. And they do, for not a very complicated ski, it's just got a poplar wood core. It's, vertical sidewall underfoot, and then half cap through tip and tail. So it's a pretty simple construction. The camber sets this one apart. You mentioned that with the Atomic, and I would bring that up with this one as well, where we just see this nice positive camber underfoot, some really good snap. So they build the energy in.
I find this to be one of the more approachable skis on the wall, and it's due to their construction. They do, the price break is going to be a little bit higher than some of the skis. But that's because they put it into the technology and in the construction. So it's going to be that super reactive and responsive feel. But again, it's got that shape that's going to go just about anywhere on the mountain. You're going to be able to pop into the trees and the woods, especially with that tail shape, that twin tip shape. You're going to be able to hit the groomers because of the construction. It's going to be stable and smooth. So I find this to be a very versatile ski in this lineup that a wide range of ladies could get on and really enjoy.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned trees, and that's where I think this thing really fits at home. Bumps, trees, anywhere you need to make those tight turns. Yeah. You really get good energy and good grip and good energy coming out of the turn with those. You're
gonna be able to release your tails and and that turn shorter when you want to.
Yeah, absolutely. And we got a Blizzard Black Pearl 97 up next. Gosh, we talk about the 88s quite a bit, don't we?
We do. That was the most popular ski for a couple years in a row.
So this is the 97, same construction, just wider. And you know what they end up doing with this 97 here is they're basically borrowing the bona fide 97 mold and removing the metal from it. So it's actually even we can put this one on the scale too. We weighed it out earlier, did a conversion. You might have to click that on button in the middle there, Al. Did the conversion, and even like per centimeter, this ski is pretty heavy. So they, anyone thinking that any black pearl is like a dainty ski, that's not really the case. This thing is pretty rugged, 35 grams. This is the 177, so it is longer, but just a really good directional, wider ski for, pretty aggressive skiers.
Without there being metal in there, especially with the wider version, you're going to get a little bit more aggressive on this ski and be geared towards more of an aggressive skier who knows what they're doing out there. The 88 is a lot more approachable for that mom to teenager to advanced skier. Everyone, that's like the everyone ski. Right. That's what we always say. This one's a little less the everyone ski. It still doesn't have that metal, so you're not going to have the heaviness of a metal ski, but as Bob's been saying, it's still not the lightest ski that we have up here, and that adds to the construction, allowing it to be smooth and stable. Yeah, and like kind of the word tradition comes to mind when we're talking about these. Just a more traditional shape, flatter tail, kind of have that late rise to the tip here, so leading to that pretty generous splay when we see something like the Rustler, the Sheeva coming up next. It's kind of a similar look, but with that longer rocker profile. But good camber underfoot, and then a pretty flat and non-rockered tail. So that leads to this directional format. And if you want to ski this thing hard and fast through deep snow, go right ahead. It's pretty good in that realm. Let's keep one of those out while we talk about the Sheeva, since they are in the same family. Yep. But not in the same family category. Right. It's certainly the same colorway, wouldn't you say? Yes. Maroon. It's the new color of the year. So yeah, these Sheeva 10s, the Sheeva line as a whole, 9, 10, and 11, fall more into that freeride category. Big thing with construction here is the wood core and this partial metal laminate. So it is full width underfoot and then tapers to the shovel, and then same thing into the tail. So it's not a full metal sheet. It does leave the tips and tails unencumbered by that metal, and then it does have that more freeride tail profile to it. So, not a twin tip in like the freestyle sense of the word, but certainly in terms of being playful, like we talked about with the Camox. Great in the trees, easy to back out of tricky spots. I always talk about that with these turned up tail skis. It's just easy to get out of spots. I find that the Sheeva is a little bit more in a corner for certain skiers. There's certain skiers that love it and certain skiers that don't like it, and it comes with where you want to take it on the mountain. So the Black Pearl is going to be for that lady that's mainly staying on groomed trails, where the Sheeva is going to be for that girl that likes to go out into the woods, bumps, trees, and beyond the trail. The release in the tails is going to be the easier, but there's some skiers that really like that stiffer tail. So if you like the stiffer tail, you're going to want to go lean towards that Black Pearl rather than the Sheeva, because that tail acts very differently than a front side carving ski. Yeah, I think that the power is found underfoot here, whereas you're going to get a lot of energy out of the tail on this ski. When you feel that full metal underfoot in the Sheeva series skis, it's definitely different than, not having it in the Blizzard. Like someone who likes to end their turns by kind of skidding their heels out. The Sheeva is a great option for you. It's going to be a lot easier in the woods than something with a stiffer tail. Yeah, and we do see that rocker profile start down quite a bit lower on the Sheeva versus the Black Pearls, and then the tail as well. So it's definitely it's a pretty clear line in Blizzard in their catalog that this is
going to be the free ride aspect, and that's a little bit more directional.
And even in powder, this is going to be a great option, especially with that tip and tail rocker. You're going to be able to get that float very easy and early on in the turn.
Yeah, and 102 underfoot on the Sheeva 10 here. So, another 5 millimeters over this Black Pearl 97. But definitely, two good choices here for that advanced and expert skier that likes to do it all, just in a different way.
Yeah.
Yep. And back with the Dynastar M-Pro 99W. I really like these skis. There's a category of like unsung heroine skis that I feel that these fall into for whatever reason. They don't get the press they deserve, which is unfortunate because they're really nice. Dynastar, went away from their Legend series into this M-Pro line. We get a poplar wood core. It's a hybrid wood core. So poplar in the middle, and then kind of in this darker black that you see on the sides, that's about where the polyurethane or PU material extends into. So it's basically like a wider sidewall that extends into the ski. And then they use their Titanal rocket frame on top. So starting in the tip of the ski and extending out full width, extending back to the tail, and then pretty much full width in the tail until the end here. So that gives you really good grip underfoot, allows for more playful in the shovel, and then a really strong tail. Let me just take that for a second and kind of illustrate how this metal and the rocker marry up. The metal starts here, and that's where this rocker starts. So they make that line up so that the shovels of these skis are more playful, better in flotation, and it works. I find these to be really easy to engage, intuitive, good in the softer snow, but then with a really stiff tail. I mean, you don't really get it from flexing the shovel of the ski so much, but when you're flexing the tail, there's definitely not as much give in there. But just a really ripping overall ski, 99 underfoot. Good application for firmer snow, I would say.
Dynastar's done something very different than most of the skis out here. I actually don't think there's a single other ski that I would say is the same exact thing as this one. And so that makes it really awesome, and I recommend trying it because of that easy turn initiation. Someone who's really nervous about the crud or those couple of inches on the side of the trail at the end of the day, this ski is just going to breeze through it, and then you're going to have that power to finish that turn, and you're not going to even worry about those pushed off piles. You're going to just be able to go through it all. So I think it's very unique in where it falls in the lineup, and it might be an East Coast ski, but I really think it's an all-around anywhere you want to ski it as your one ski quiver. It is 99 underfoot, so for some ladies it might be a little too wide, making it a little bit more powerful. They do have a 88 version, I believe.
Yep.
So that would be a little more approachable for a variety of ladies, where this is definitely geared towards more of an advanced lady who knows how to finish their turns. It's not going to be very forgiving in the tails like the Sheeva, so you're not going to be able to swish your tails out when you want to. Yeah. In a shorter length in the woods, I think you're still going to be able to get that energy and be able to maneuver, but that stiff tail might, be a concern for some lady skiers.
Yeah, it's an interesting blend, and, we can kind of skip ahead for a minute here and talk about that K2, which we always kind of point out is the opposite. So this K2 has a Y beam of metal, so the metal extends over the edges and the tips, and then runs through the central cord of the tail but doesn't hit the outside of the tail. So it's basically like they took their metal laminates and flipped them. Mm-hmm. And it does a different thing. This one initiates easier and hooks up easier with a more playful finish. And the Dynastar there is just easier to engage into the turn with a strong kick at the end. So it really, it depends on what type of a skier you are, what terrain you're skiing, what you prefer to do, kind of how that lines up with your skiing style. And the end result is that the skier is the winner because they get to choose
what they want.
what they want.
Yeah.
So that's the nice thing about it. And, we get kind of sucked into having a lot of different options. A lot of people are overwhelmed with options. And I'd say that is about as clear of a distinction between ski construction as it gets, with basically a flipped metal laminate. So it's pretty interesting to see how that all works. This is a really fun one. We talk about the fun-loving nature of these Elan Ripsticks a whole lot. This 102 is certainly no different. We talk about the tube light wood core. We got carbon tubes that run along the side. We talk about the carbon line technology. These are asymmetrically built, so there's a right and left specific ski. This gives the engineers at Elan the flexibility to put more material over the inside edge where you need it more. So this horizontal carbon sheet is on the inside of the edge of this right ski. And then they're also able to rocker the ski using their Amphibiotech. It's a little subtle, but it works. Allie, I'm sure you've noticed it. When you go to tip this ski, you can definitely feel the smoothness of the outside edge over the contact of the inside edge.
Because they actually have different lengths and contact edges on the inside and the outside,
Right.
and it's the only company that's doing this. Once you get over having to remember left and right, I really enjoyed this actually, and have no problem with left or right anymore because of how much I enjoyed this ski. It really could handle just about any condition out there, especially at the 102 waist. You're going to be able to hit some powder, crud, woods. It doesn't have a twin tip like some of the ones that we're talking about that would be great in the woods, but because it's so light and responsive, you're still going to be able to end that turn when you want to. I was really impressed with this ski, and it's actually one of the ones that really stood out last year in the lineup, and they really didn't change anything from last year's to this year's other than top sheet graphics, because they know what they were doing with the construction. And for the price, with the construction materials that they're putting in there, it's a pretty reasonable price.
Yeah, we talk about the carbon tubes and that three-dimensional, that 360-degree flex, where it doesn't matter if you're flexing the ski that way, torsionally, whichever way you want to twist this ski, those carbon tubes react in kind. 1650 at the weight here, certainly light enough. We hardly mention these without mentioning their touring capabilities. Even if it's not like as light as the Atomic, it is light feeling. So both in uphill efficiency and in downhill performance, you're getting a lot out of this ski. And it's just, we've just had the success on these Ripsticks over the years, and I see no reason to stop now. It's just a great
If you
great
get an
overall
opportunity
product.
to try one, I highly recommend it.
Yeah.
It's something different than a lot of the brands are doing, and that's always really nice to see.
And you and Jeff must have had the 88 in your previous video. There's also a 94 waist width in this ski as well. So, pick your winner on that one. Kind of like the K2 and the Dynastar dichotomy there. The end result is you get a lot of choices depending on what you ski, how you ski, and where you ski, and just trying to get the right setup for you. The right setup for a lot of skiers over the years has been this. How many of these do we see cruising around the hill these days?
Pink Ski Club, there's quite a few.
And no reason for there not to be. This is just a really fun, easy to ski, high limit, product that just has resonated pretty strongly with the ski community. Nothing terribly complicated going on with the build of this. We do get that wood core. Arrow shape is how they add the power, and then carbon nose is where you get your maneuverability and quickness from. So ahead of this flat binding zone here, which is full sidewall, we do get that arrow shape. So it's a bit of a convex shape in the wood core, in the forebody and the tail, just putting more pressure over that central spine of the ski while leaving that middle part, just a full sidewall, pretty grippy ski underfoot for sure, with that more twin tip shape. Again, not like a park twin tip, but certainly that capability is there. I just missed out on that scale. Certainly that freestyle ability is there, but I would categorize this more as that freeride ski. A little bit, pretty much the same weight as that 102 from Elan. 1,540 grams.
Before I got to try the ski, I was always surprised at the ability level of people that I saw on it. They are all aggressive, high advanced skiers. Now, that's not to say that a more intermediate, athletic intermediate couldn't get on the ski and still enjoy it, But I always thought with the construction that it wouldn't hold up, but it performs excellent out there. You know, they get the feedback on the ski is amazing from professional skiers out there. And Fischer is doing something cool. We are touched base on, you know, women's versus men's version. They have a men's version. It is blue. We do find that a lot of men are buying the pink one. So we've almost, on our website, we just labeled them pink and blue instead of by their gender. And we feel that a lot of companies are probably going to move to this in the future. DPS kind of does that as well. Instead of putting a women's category and a men's category, they put different colored top sheets on. So same construction as the men's, so you can choose whatever color you'd like if you like the blue one more. You know, some of the ladies seem to like the blue ones, and the boys are liking the pink ones.
Yeah, and it comes in a 191 in the pink, so it's, you know, they got a full-size range of each, which is nice.
Yeah. And then once I got on the ski, I had a blast on it. It was a light powder day, maybe 5 inches, and the flotation was amazing in the woods. The twin tip shape really helped me release my tails and maneuver easily through the tight trees here in Vermont. But I also used it out in Vail and bowls, and it was, you know, it was a joy.
Yeah, I bet it was just about perfect.
Yeah.
You know, that carbon nose does really keep this thing light and just easy to get through the tree. You can really just swivel right through the trees. Yeah. Really high swivel factor on these. And yeah, like you said, I think the range of skier is really important too. You know, going down to this 156, you know, goes from small to tall. There's a whole lot of skiers that can get a lot out of that one. Similarly light, but quite a bit stiffer. We get a slightly revamped Head Core 97. You know, like you said with this Ranger, you know, it does have that men's comparison as well. These are built the same as the Core 99s. The core skis do get narrower as they get shorter. So really what they've done is just called it what it is as according to the reference length. So this one, in its reference length, I think this is the 170. Yeah, so that's 97 millimeters underfoot. So it's the same ski, just a little bit narrower. What they do when they do that is to keep the turn radius the same by reducing the waist width. So it kind of keeps the characteristics of the ski the same, even though the numbers are a little bit different. And like all the core skis, we talk about just how stiff they are per weight, you know, and it's not just per weight. You know, when we organized one of our men's comparisons by stiffness, this was at the very end of the wall because it was the stiffest ski.
It's definitely one of the stiffest ones up here. We've got a couple in this side that will be equally as stiff, but not without metal in them.
Right. So Head uses carbon to do that. So it's a Karuba wood core, 2 sheets of carbon. They've done away with the Koroyd, which was in these core skis as of up to this year. That's gone. What they've done though to kind of make up for that is curved this top sheet of carbon. And anytime you put carbon in a 3-dimensional shape, it's going to make it stiffer. So similar to how we talk about the tubes in the Elan, using carbon in anything other than a horizontal sheet really kind of brings out the stiffness and those active properties, making this, you know, just one of the stiffest skis on the market. 1,600 grams just about, so in the 170, you know, we do see that high strength to weight ratio. But, you know, for my money, this is one of the better skis for firmer snow. So the, you know, stiffer the ski, the better it's going to hold on to ice, you know, kind of borrowing from race heritage.
The core lineup, I always kind of recommend people try before they buy. And the reason for that is because it is super light and that makes it super reactive. That carbon is really going to give you energy under the foot. So if you're not able to, you know, power your skis and handle that power, you might feel like the ski is, you know, skiing you rather than you skiing it. But for an aggressive skier who really knows what they're doing out there, it's great because it's going to be lightweight, less fatiguing throughout the day, and it's going to get that responsive feel like on any condition. And as he said, it's going to hold up in that icy conditions, and you're going to be able to hold that edge and, you know, complete that turn. But I do recommend trying it if you've never tried them before you purchase, just because it is so stiff.
Yeah, and you mentioned the word response, and that's what I always talk about too, is that these are very responsive. Each and every bit of, you know, energy you put into your boot gets pretty quickly translated to the edge of the ski. As these core skis get wider, they do get more rockered and tapered. So when we go up from, I guess it's now the Core 85W to the 91 and then to the 97, we're seeing an increase in rocker to accommodate a softer snow. But still, I just feel like these are better suited for firmer snow. You know, just like a stiff race ski, you want that responsiveness, and for that you get the proper outcome, which is instantaneous energy transmission and really good edge grip. Mm-hmm. So for a 97, I think this is one of the grippier skis that we'll see on this wall. Yeah. And we talked about this K2. They do a lot with their technology here, and I think it all makes sense. We got a lighter aspen wood core. We'll see this with the line Pandora, so it's an aspen veneer wood core. Does make the very end of this shovel pretty flexible, but that metal keeps it damp. So I think it's a nice combination of dampness and grip. And then we see that full metal underfoot, and then centralized into the tail. But really just a nice overall ski. 98 millimeters underfoot. Again, similar to this, probably more of that front side all mountain versus all mountain free ride.
It's definitely geared towards the front side skier. Yeah. You could probably pop into the woods because the tail is a little stiffer, but they have reduced it with that frame. I like to kind of compare this actually to the Secret and the Volkl lineup, where they use that glass frame technology or the metal frame technology in their skis. This does that similarly, but it actually takes out a little bit more, making it a little bit more approachable than the Secrets, because it's going to have that little bit more flexibility in the tip and the tails than the Secret, allowing you to go a little bit farther on the mountain and also a wider range of skiers. So it's going to be a little bit more approachable for someone that's at high intermediate that's looking to advance. It's going to help you complete that turn with that nice tail shape. And it's just a really fun looking ski as well.
Yeah.
K2 never disappoints with their top sheet.
No, I definitely enjoy all of the graphics of both men's and women's K2 skis. Especially this year, I think they've just added the right splash of color and interest to keep people's attention for sure.
And they look different than most skis up here, which is kind of fun.
Definitely, and really similar to this and opposite this. Yeah. Where this has more of that fun and free ride up front. You do get that pretty instantaneous response because the metal is over the edges, even with that slightly softer shovel flex. But overall, it gives you really nice, stable, smooth feeling. I really like this, that construction technique for sure. This one's pretty cool. Kastle FX 96W. This one is unchanged from last year. Definitely in that high performance range in terms of precision and quality. When you put it up against like that Secret 96 on the end of the wall, not quite the same on-trail personality, more for that all-mountain versatility. Whereas I'm putting that Secret 96 more on the carving side of the spectrum, similar to this Core 97. I'm putting this more into the versatile category. But you do get what you pay for in terms of precision and quality. They build their core with these vertical stringers of wood that are tightly sandwiched together. They have denser wood in the central portion and then lighter wood on the side. And then there's fiberglass top and bottom. So you get a ton of energy when they put that wood in a vertical manner. We see that energy really come to life, and we'll see vertical technology in that Liberty next as well. But we end up getting that softer flex in the shovel, similar to that K2, and then in the tail it is stiffer. So certainly, good strong kick to the end of the turn, and just a really nice quality product overall.
I think this would be a great option for that mom that's kind of chasing their kids around the mountain, where they do 80% on trail, but 20% they're chasing their kids in the bumps in the woods. They're going to have that on trail performance, but they're going to be able to follow their kids anywhere. It's a little higher price break, but that comes in the quality of the construction, and it also is a pretty lightweight ski compared to some of these other higher end aggressive frontside skis. I think it's going to be a little bit more approachable because of that construction.
Yeah, 1650, 1660, so kind of right in line with the rest of these ones here. And yeah, you know, we talk about these skis. We got some pricier options here. You get what you pay for in terms of quality and precision of build. You know, we kind of compare them to cars a lot where, you know, one of them's a Honda, but this is the Acura. So it's the luxury brand of a regular model. And that seems to ring true for a lot of skiers. Just, you know, ultimately skis are all made from wood, plastic, metal, carbon, yet they all perform somewhat differently. You know, it's the way in which you put this stuff together that counts. So Kastle does a great job making this a precise product. Definitely their quality just oozes out of it when you get onto it.
And a beautiful ski. I mean, I think it's one of the most stunning skis we've got up here.
All right, let's take a look at this Liberty. This is a new ski for 2022. Pretty exciting. They have upgraded their cores in both the Origin and the Genesis line. So this is the all-new Genesis 101. We get VMT with this ski now. So in addition to it being a new shape overall, we get a new core. So they use bamboo, poplar, and paulownia wood in these skis. And then they have a vertical metal strut that runs the length of the ski. When you take like a regular horizontal sheet of metal and then turn it sideways, much like an I-beam in construction, we're greatly increasing the stiffness. So, you know, where you can bend it this way, you're not going to be able to bend it this way. And so having that vertical beam running through the center of the ski, you know, really does wonders for the stiffness and response. So when we get into this 101 millimeter shape, I think that makes a lot of sense. And just a super fun free ride ski from a more free ride known company. So all these stars are lining up for this Genesis 101.
Liberty is the brand that I find gets the most surprised reactions at our ski test.
Okay.
You get that ex-racer that's like, I don't want to try that ski. And then they get on and they're like, can I take another run? And they're really surprised by it. And I think they've just improved it this year with that vertical metal band in there. It's just made it a little bit more responsive and smooth, a little less like of that tingy feel where you're like bouncing around on the skis. It definitely like is making it a little bit more stable. So I think it's just improved on their previous versions. And again, people are always surprised with the edge grip and the maneuverability of this ski. It's going to be super responsive. You're going to be able to take it anywhere, free ride shape, hop into the woods and moguls. It's definitely for someone who likes to kind of switch their tails a little bit more, that free ride skier style more than that racer style ski. But again, they love to have fun with their top sheets. They love to stand out on the wall, which is kind of why they make their top sheets fun. I definitely think they've honed in their female top sheets to be a little more universal in their appeal than in previous years. I think this is one of the prettiest ones we've seen from Liberty. But again, as super surprising but awesome ski. I recommend trying it. You'll be surprised.
Yeah, again, it's I don't want to say it's unsung because it's in its first year of existence, but I hope this one doesn't go under the radar.
Yes, agreed.
I hope people get on this thing. We do still get that nice positive camber underfoot, but like you were saying, really more of that free ride shape. Low tip rocker to start here. And then pretty similar in the tail as well. So we're, not a tremendous amount of splay here, but longer rocker profile in the tail. So kind of, really that curvy shape gives you good energy underfoot, but easy to release those tails.
And in their Genesis lineup, I find the 101 to actually be the most approachable because, the narrow width is going to be a little bit more forgiving. And then the larger width, the 110, I believe it is going to be a little bit more aggressive and demanding, more of a powder ski, where this is kind of falls right there in that center where it's like very approachable and it's going to be responsive and fun for a wide range of ladies that are looking for something free ride-ish.
Yeah, and bamboo is an interesting wood. You're really only going to get it from Liberty, and I find it that it's very quiet and silent. Mm-hmm. So if you like that, not feeling chatter and sound under your foot.
Even when you get in ice, you don't really hear the chatter. It's deceiving.
Yeah, no, absolutely, I agree 100%.
And I think that's why people are so surprised by it.
Yeah. We got a line Pandora 104. This Pandora line's pretty cool. That ranges from 84 to 110, I believe. So this is kind of the wider of the all mountain versions. That 110 has more of a turned up tail, more rocker. This one is more similar to the more all mountain style skis. And similar to the K2, we have an aspen veneer wood core, so we actually see a lot of the similar flex profiles here. You know, it's got a pretty flexible shovel, and then same in the tail as well. So, you know, it does bend in the tips and tails, but we do have more of a hybrid cap to vertical sidewall underfoot. So you do get good energy and good grip out of it. Definitely lighter. You know, what do you think compared to some of these other ones?
Yeah, I again, another ski that might be a great uphill ski for someone that's looking for that 104 waist width, because, you know, it's not bad.
Yeah, 1480.
It's going to take you just about anywhere on the mountain. It's not totally a twin tip, but it does have a little bit of tail rocker so that you can get a little early release if you wanted to. It's going to get nice float, but it really, with a 104, it's actually kind of geared towards, I'd say, more trail skiing, even though it is that wide.
Yeah.
So someone who's maybe the back bowls that fail most of the time, or someone who really just likes that wider width that can kind of use it as a powder ski, but mainly use it on groomed trails. You know, it's going to be light and forgiving under the feet, but, you know, it's very comparable to the Mindbender. I find that Pandora lineup has, you know, is a little different throughout the lineup. You know, you start at their narrowest waist width, and it's going to be nimble and soft and a little more geared towards an intermediate. And the farther, the higher you go up or the wider you go up, the more advanced it's going to get.
Yeah, definitely. And just, you know, one of the better floaters, I would say, despite having kind of that nice strong kick to the end. You know, a lot of these skis kind of have this bump out at the end. The Reliance as well just gives you a nice strong kick to the end of the turn. You know, pretty surprising. Another one that people should definitely, I wouldn't say this is a try before you buy, like the head. You could be pretty confident if you're in that low to mid 100s range looking for something light and fun to pull the trigger on something like that, and you'll have a blast.
It's not going to ski you. You're going to be able to ski it.
Yep, absolutely. Kind of the other side of the spectrum here with this Nordica Santa Ana 98. Really kind of, you know, the Secret, this Reliance, definitely more, and the Dynastar here, kind of on the burlier end of this spectrum. But doesn't lose its accessibility. Definitely seeing the flex stiffen up with these versus that line, but still just a really strong, capable ski. We get a dense wood core with these with one sheet of terrain-specific metal. So the Santa Ana line used to be a lighter wood with 2 sheets of metal. They moved to a dense wood with 1 sheet of metal, kind of to differentiate it from the Enforcer line, I think. And it does so, you know, by kind of hollowing out the sides of the skis where the metal is, or the metal is not anymore, I should say. So we still get that nice, stiff, stable, and damp central cord with more playfulness on the outside. Now, I think it works pretty well.
Again, a great aggressive ski for an advanced lady. It's going to take you just about anywhere on the mountain. I generally, obviously, more geared towards the grooming trails, where the next width, which we're about to talk to, would be a little bit more of a free ride shape. It's definitely heavier than some of the skis on here with that one sheet of metal in there, but it's going to be super smooth and stable at high speeds. Any terrain you want to get into, you know, Nordica's got their signature graphics with the mountains on there. It's a beautiful ski. Again, it's geared towards that higher end lady, so, you know, it's not something I'd recommend to anyone. Where I almost feel like their 104 would be a little bit more forgiving just because of the freeride shape. Yeah. It's still an aggressive ski, but this, with its stiffer tail, is going to be geared towards that groomer skier who knows what they're doing out there.
Yeah, 2,000 grams in this 172, so it's, you know, it's pretty legit in terms of its power and stability. You know, but what you put in, you're going to get out. You know, so if you're that type of skier that is able to have that aggressive input, you're going to get, you know, the corresponding performance on the back end. You know, on our site we have a picture of Niffer, one of our friends skiing this, who has a strong racing background, And she just has this thing, you know, fully bent and, you know, up on an edge angle about that high. Just super impressive how she's able to do that. You know, clearly has that strong alpine racing background. And it works really well on a ski like this. You know, I think I've seen a bunch of former racers gravitate towards this Santa Ana line.
And from previous years, I do feel the change in construction actually made it a little bit more responsive underfoot and a little bit more energetic than the previous versions, which I do enjoy.
And here's where I miss out, because I don't really get to ski that because they don't make them long enough for me. Whereas, you know, a lot of these other models, we get the similar men's comparison. And then, yeah, moving up just a width, we got the 104. You know, this one basically just adds the width. It adds more rocker, more taper. It's a similar construction. We get the dense performance wood core with the terrain-specific metal. Basically, the metal stays the same as the ski gets wider. So we're leaving that metal in the middle, but the space where it's unoccupied on the sides is greater. So it's more playful on the very edges of the skis. A little bit easier, especially in the torsional stiffness, to get this thing to flex, where it has a pretty similar vertical flex pattern as the 98. But just, you know, what we've talked about in the past with these 104s versus the 98s is just that increased rocker, you know, more playful in the tail. That's really where we see the biggest difference, is being able to release that tail easier in softer snow. Whereas, you know, the tip rocker is more similar, I would say, than the tail. So we're still seeing that power and energy in the front with a more playful release.
This is my powder ski for Stowe. I love it because we generally don't get a lot of powder here. So it's a couple inches, and after 3 runs, it's really just pushed around snow. So this ski can do it all, and I can stay up there and still get the float on those couple of first powder turns, but then I can power through everything. And I actually do find that this is a little bit more forgiving than the 98 because of that shape and because of that, you know, not reduced metal, but the ratio of metal in the ski is making it a little bit more forgiving in that turn. Again, ex-racers love this ski because they can get it on edge and really power it.
Yeah, definitely. And interesting, coming up, we got 2 Rossignol's to kind of counterbalance these 2 Nordicas here. This first one is the Blazer. So this one at 98 millimeters underfoot is their narrower of the Rallybird, or I'm sorry, the BLACKOPS series, which I would say equates to the 104, but it's narrower, but it's that twin tip shape. Whereas we have that Rallybird TI coming up next, which is the more directional, soft snow, harder charging ski. But this is an unsung ski in my book. Really just nice overall flex. Very similar to this Camox and the Ranger in terms of it being, you know, a 97, 98 millimeter all mountain twin tip that just has a ton of practical applications.
I find it one of the most approachable skis on this wall right here. You know, it's because of the twin tip shape. People sometimes get a little afraid of twin tips. Don't be afraid of it. It just means you can release your tails. You're still going to have that control under the edge of the foot, but you're going to be able to pop into the woods. Again, a great chase your kids around the mountain skiing. High intermediate, even, you know, a true intermediate that's athletic would have a blast on this ski. It's just super approachable. It's going to perform well in a mix of variety of conditions and terrain. It's a one ski quiver.
It is, and one of the other cool things is that it has a little bit straighter of a cut. So some of these have a shorter turn radius. This one is relatively longer, allowing the skier to put more input and dictate the shape and duration of the turn. A really nice positive camber underfoot on this ski. So the metal underfoot is for binding retention. It's not exactly structural. So again, they're relying on building energy into the ski through camber to get the snap and pop out of it. But, you know, more of a freestyle application, but it's not necessary.
Yeah, anyone, if you have never been a freestyle skier, you still will be able to get on the ski and have some fun. Yeah. You know, some people that aren't ex-racers like to be able to release their tails easier, and so this would be a great option.
Yeah.
I'm going to leave this one out while we move to the next one, so we can talk about them.
And a quick note on graphics. It is very difficult to tell the difference between these 2 skis just based on graphics, but they do feel quite a bit different. They are, of quite a bit different construction and shaping. They just happen to look a lot alike. So this is a Rallybird TI. We could have had a regular Rallybird on here as well, Allie, making 3 Rossignol skis on this wall, but we didn't quite have one in stock readily available. But we'll take this Rallybird TI. I think it's almost a better, addendum to the Blazer versus the regular Rallybird. So the TI refers to a full width metal plate underfoot. We are still just with a wood core ski here. They use their Diago fiber, again, a cross hatching similar to this Armada, where they're taking, basically just fiberglass and weaving it across the ski, and that helps to stiffen it. So it does have some stiffness and responsiveness to it for sure. And then that flatter tail shape really helps with that directional format.
I found this great to be a resort ski.
Yep.
East Coast, West Coast, I've had a blast on it. I actually own the non-TI version, which I think is just as stable and smooth as the TI version. I don't even think there's that much weight difference. I'm sure there's a little weight difference in there. So depending on your ability level, you have that option to have the metal or not. But for that lady that's an aggressive skier who's mainly staying on trail, groomed trails, maybe a little bit of crud because you've got a nice waist width to go over it. But it's definitely going to feel powerful and you're going to feel great on it.
Yeah, 102 underfoot, so it's that wider directional ski. This thing is definitely going to charge through powder and crud, not miss a beat. That tail and just really cuts through the snow very well. So stays on top in the front, kind of has that spoonier tip shape. So it's going to get great float, but then cut straight through. So very smooth feeling ski in the powder and the crud. It's not going to hook.
So I actually own the Rallybird and the 104 Santa Ana 104 free, and people, why do you need 2 102s and 104 skis? And they're very different. Yeah. And I find that I actually have very different days that I want to ski on these skis. I use my Rallybirds on those days that I really want to make some GS turns, some larger groomed turns, where the Santa Ana is that day, as I said, a little bit of powder, a little bit of crud, and maybe when I want to pop into the woods a little bit more, I like the Santa Ana tail. But you're still going to be able to do that on the Rallybird. The construction's nice, and it's a very fun ski. I recommend trying it. It's a beautiful ski. Yeah. A question we get a lot in customer service is about the Soul 7. What do you think is the closest thing to replacing the Soul 7 now? Because obviously they didn't replace it, and they've definitely changed. Yeah, and this is a different ski for sure. That Soul 7 was really known for having that 5-point side cut, so a wider tip, a narrower waist, and then a wider tail. Nothing really on this wall jumps out at me. Maybe this Tracer would be a good option for that. We didn't have a DPS as available. The Pagoda 100 RP, I think, is currently the best substitute for that sole. Yeah, that's a very popular question, so it's good to tell the audience. Yeah, shorter turn radius. That sole was great at shorter turns, popping in and out of the powder, and that DPS, the RP with the 15-meter radius. Yeah, because you would say that the Blazer with their long edge is not like that because it's got such an elongated edge. Right, yeah, that sole was really well known for that hourglass shape to it, that 5-point side cut. Yeah. Short radius, just popped right out of the snow. Got a QST 92 Lumen, 99, I'm sorry, forgot which comparison we were in. This ski is unchanged from last year. Good news for those of you that really enjoy a smooth, damp, versatile, just a really well-rounded all-mountain ski. In the write-up that I did on this, I said, if you've made it this far and you still don't know what ski to get, this is get this. And I kind of use that jokingly, but it's true. Whatever you want to do, kind of similar to the Black Pearl, it's going to do it.
So we get a poplar wood core. They use their CFX material in this ski, so carbon and flax fibers that run the length of the ski really do a good job of stiffening it. You know, and it does have that kind of stiffer flex to it. It's not the lightest ski. You know, I kind of feel like this one is a little bit mismarketed in the catalog in terms of being, they want it to be a touring ski, but it's not really a touring ski, which is fine. I mean, you're more than welcome to throw a shift on this and head out into the backcountry, but you will be paying for it with weight just a little bit.
I actually did that, and I sold mine because I was very popular ski. I really enjoyed skiing on it in the test, so I was like, oh great, I'll throw a binding on this, shift binding. I regretted it at the end of the day. It was a little too heavy, and it made the ski not as much fun for me going downhill because I was just so tired from going uphill. But I still really enjoy the performance at the resort.
It's very smooth, don't you think?
Yeah, and quiet. Another one of those quiet skis that you're really surprised about because it's so light underweight. It's got a really quiet chatter. When you're on edge and on ice, you don't hear it, and it's very smooth. It's one of the, I say smooth a lot, but it is one of the most smooth onto this wall because of the construction. That damp feeling under there, it's not going to rock you around. You're going to be able to really get into your turns and flex the ski.
Yeah, I mean, smoothness is a great quality. 1,800 grams, so yeah, I mean, it is, you know, on the heavier side. But again, another one of these skis with this just supreme, you know, camber built in, even is difficult to compress. So they build that energy into the ski. And then we do get that kind of free ridey tail, you know, pretty decent splay there. It's going to be smooth towards the tail end, you know, more dramatic taper on some of these than some of these other skis. Certainly in the tip, we got this, you know, spoony tip. I guess I'd put this as another good sole comparison as well.
I find this to be one of the more approachable skis on the wall for a wide range of lady skiers. You know, intermediate skiers could get on this and still have some fun and be able to flex the ski, and a really aggressive X-racer is still going to get out there and not have a problem holding an edge. Yeah, no, it's a surprising performer when you get it going for sure. But just a whole lot of fun, really well rounded. If you don't mind having a little bit of extra weight, makes for just a great resort ski. And, you know, we could say the same thing about the 92 and the 106 as well. But definitely some of the floatier of the bunch, a floatier 99, mostly due to that tapered shape. And beautiful top sheet. Yep, very nice looking. Speaking of nice looking, I don't know, I think this is my pick for best graphic on the wall. This is the Stockli Nela 96. Again with the premium price tag, but again with the corresponding performance and the precision and the quality of the materials. Really what it comes down to is this Titech top sheet. So whereas a lot of these skis have metal incorporated into the ski in one laminate or another, this one has the metal on the top. So when you attach your binding to the ski, you put your movement into your boot, the direct relationship goes right to the metal. So your energy is pretty efficiently directed to the edge of the ski. So that does a few things. One, it makes it extremely responsive, and two, it makes it really damp. You know, just the smoothness, there's your word again. Smoothness, word of the day. Well, we should have saved more of that for this. But, you know, very quiet, very stable. You know, a lighter wood core, so they kind of counterbalance that top sheet with a lighter wood core, and that makes a lot of sense for what the ski is meant to do, which is just true all-mountain versatility at a premium, you know, level of precision and quality. And, you know, it looks heavy because it looks like it's metal, right? But it really isn't that bad for, you know, when we're talking about a frontside ski. Yeah, 1570. Yeah, it's pretty darn light and very impressive what they get out of it. I kind of talk about the range on these skis a lot, where it's with metal, it's still soft enough to access the whole side cut. So you don't have to be an aggressive expert skier to access
the entire performance of this.
Yeah, I actually see a lot of intermediates on this ski, and I think it actually helps them improve their skiing because it is so responsive and, you know, flexible, but it's still going to get you that stability that you need to progress as a skier out there. The shape and the construction, again, you're talking that high price tag, but it's worth it when you're talking about, you know, what this ski is going to give you out there.
Yeah, and we kind of have seen, you know, especially in that Salomon, where the tail taper and the tail shape couldn't be more different. You know, this has definitely more of that front side precision oriented tail where you're going to get full edge contact, and the more edge contact, the smoother the ski. So the more that your edge is in contact with the snow, the better grip you're going to have, and it's just going to feel better overall. But nice and flat on top, and then just minimal taper. So that kind of leads to a very strong finish to the turn. But really just a great overall performer. You know, whether it's worth the money to you is kind of up to you and your bank account. But you are getting a premium product made with, you know, the best materials in the best way. I mean, they're handmade. You know, each pair of skis is handmade, and they do it really well. Well, good place to end on this Secret 96. Another new ski for 2022 from Volkl. They basically took the new Mantra M6 and put a different top sheet on it. And, you know, you get all the performance of a real deal Mantra M6. 96 millimeters underfoot. We got Titanal frame, and it is a tailored Titanal frame. So it's a little bit different than in the past with the old Secret 92, which doesn't exist anymore. So now we get, you know, basically Kenja 88, Secret 96, and then Secret 102. But yeah, this metal frame is tailored per length. So when they alter these skis per length, similar to how we see True Blend wood core used in the Black Pearl, it makes the ski a more appropriate flex per length. And then we get tailored carbon in the tips as well. So we see this technology on like a Deacon V-Works or the new Deacon 72 Master. So they interlace this carbon material into here to really increase the initiation precision, and it works. And then they added 3D radius side cut to the mix as well. A really good, you know, just a strong front side all mountain performer.
Volkl's known traditionally for being a great frontside carving ski. I mean, obviously they have a range of other options in their lineups, but you know they don't disappoint with the new Secret. I've been a fan of Volkl frontside skis for a long time, and they've just improved them over the years, taking out those full sheets of metal, but they haven't taken away from the performance of the ski by lightening it up and making it more accessible to a range of ladies. You know, this originally was a very aggressive ski that you would only put an X-Racer on. That's not the case anymore. You're going to be able to get on this and still be able to bend it. That being said, it is still geared towards a more aggressive skier. But, you know, that lady that was intimidated by those X-Racers doesn't need to be intimidated anymore. It's going to, with that now, that terrain-specific or length-specific, tailored specific
frame.
There we go. You know, if you're getting at that 170 length, you're going to want that to be a little stiffer than someone who's a little shorter on the 165 length or 163 length. So they've done a great job with that technology to make it, through the lineup more accurate and, you know, better performance for the skier that's choosing the right size for themselves.
Yeah, and also showing that you don't need 2 full sheets of metal to make a supremely amazing on-trail ski.
I think all the brands learned that recently.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that's a good trend moving forward, is that they've been able to apply, partial metal laminates in a way that mirrors and takes the best qualities of those dual metal laminates. You know, we see the partials in, you know, the Blizzard and the Dynastar and the K2, and now in this Volkl, and they just do it in a really smart way. I think it's just the engineering has come quite a ways.
And with the tip construction, with that weave in there, I really find it to me not chattery. And that was the concern when they took out that metal, is that you would get a little bit more chatter on the tips. And they want to keep the weight down so that you can get into that turn when you want to, but you don't want to be feeling that tip move under you. And they've really solved that with that weave. They came out with the mantra last year with the technology, and they're just adding it to their other lineups.
Yeah, we've definitely seen that tailored carbon tip start to get into their other stuff. So, it's a proven technology that works. So 1880, not dissimilar from the Salomon. So it's interesting that two skis that are kind of on different ends of the performance spectrum weigh the same, yet have very different characteristics.
Yeah, this is definitely stiffer and more aggressive than the Salomon.
Yeah, I mean, in my mind, this is the best on-trail carving ski on the wall here. We could have included the 102 as well, which is very similar without the tailored metal, without the tailored carbon, but a similar overall feeling. I feel like that ski would have done well on this wall too, but just this being the new model really kind of made this one stand out in our minds.
I feel like when you go to that extra width, that 102, it really does make it a little less approachable. It's definitely an aggressive, strong ski, where when you're talking that 96 width, that's that all-mountain ski that you can daily drive, or it's that ski that's going to handle everything. You don't need more than one ski for most mountains, unless you're really a deep powder skier, and it's going to perform well on ice, even though it's 96. You're going to be able to carve with that 3D radius. You can choose any shape turn you want. If you want to do GS turns or slalom turns, the ski's going to do it. Yeah,
I would say that 3D radius really makes these skis intuitive, whether we're talking about this one or the Blaze 94 or Mantra 102 or the Kenja 88. That 3D radius does work. It really just makes the ski intuitive. It does what you want it to do. Well, that's it. That was all of our 100 millimeter skis. Just a great range. From 96 to 104, you can do anything on a lot of these skis. So whether you're just prefer a wider one ski quiver, or live in a snowier spot, or are using something like a Secret 96 as your Western on-trail ski, there's just a lot of applications for a lot of these models. So, feel free to reach out. We love the engagement, answering questions. Get Allie to answer your questions for you. We're more than happy to help out and kind of, get you in the right ski, because that's what it's all about. I mean, there's a big range here, but there's something good for everyone and a positive for everyone. So that's it. We will try to get another women's comparison in. We're hitting snow pretty soon, so might be more individual ladies skis coming up, but we'll do what we can to get the information out there. But until then, we'll see you out there on the hill.
Thanks for listening.
Bye.